Hi everybody, Colin Stevenson here, joined with my sensei and my hero, John Lenhart. Hi John.
Hi.
Now today we would like to share with you how to survive and thrive during lockdown. We know that the whole world has come into this pandemic, this madness, this all over the place. Now what we can't do is control what's on the outside, but what we can do is control what's on the inside. And when I say control, it's more like let it flow, let it go. And that is control. You can't control something without letting it go, in my belief. John, would you like to talk to us a bit more about surviving the lockdown, please?
Right. So we're going to not only survive, but we're going to thrive in this. I helped a group. We had lockdowns in March and April, and I helped a group actually thrive through it. And it was just amazing to see how well everybody's thought process was versus people who were not in that group. The main measure for everything I'm going to say is an interaction causing you to have more thoughts or less thoughts? So whether it's talking to a person or looking at something, a video or a TV show or information or text, if that information causes you to have more thoughts, it's not a good situation, and it's going to put you in what I call a hole. It'll put you in a hole. The goal is to have interactions where you have less thoughts. I hope when you watch these videos, you have less thoughts when these are over. So the number one measure for everything we're going to do is to try to have less thoughts. So the way to stay out of a hole, the number one way is to share. Remember, your body, when you get tense, your body produces a chemical, oxytocin, and that chemical makes you more tense. Why does it make you more tense? Because your body knows the only way it will give you a release chemical is if you share with somebody, and it doesn't trust you to go share. So it ramps up the tension to force you to share.
Yeah.
If you stay isolated, if you avoid sharing, you are choosing to have your body ramp up the tension more. And eventually, we've said this before, tension ignored is pain.
Yeah.
So the way to stay out of a hole is to share.
Okay, now, do you mean sharing their feelings? Do you mean sharing their emotions? Or do you mean just sharing conversation? Because we've spoken before about people who like to complain a lot, and that also has a negative effect on the other person, because then they take on the negative energy. If I was having a good day and you're having a bad day and you come and share all of that onto me, my day is no longer as good as what it was.
Right. The thing is that so if somebody comes to you and unloads all this pain, complaining, the thing that tends to happen is they come and tell you about how somebody else is in pain. So the steps to take is to first ask them, did you help that person who is in pain? And if they say no, the second question is, why are you telling me this? You are giving me more thoughts. Why are you telling me this? And if they can't give you a reason that has you end up with less thoughts, then the reason they're telling you this is they're in distress. And now you can help them. Then your focus is, now you're at one thought. My focus is, don't worry about what they're saying. Worry about how they're feeling, and let's help them. If you help them out of a hole, it moves your thought process up. Another way to share is to journal.
Yeah.
So I can tell you that what happens, and we have videos about this in your conscious brain, is if you don't talk out loud, your unconscious starts running your conscious brain and taking you to thoughts that will really upset you. And the story I love to tell is I had a friend, he moved to Seattle, and he had a job where no one spoke English. And he told me he'd go to work at 10, and by 2 o'clock, he was upset. And by 4 o'clock, he was ready for a fight. And when I asked him who he's talking to, he said, no one talks English. So I said to him, every 2 hours, I want you to write down, I am thinking this, I am feeling this. Write what you're thinking and what you're feeling down. You can say it out loud, but I wanted to make sure he wrote it. 2 weeks later, he calls me up and says, this isn't working. I haven't gotten upset. So he was more focused on trying to solve the problem, but I had solved it. And the reason I solved it is when you write down what, or share what you're thinking and feeling in your brain resets back to like your main tree in your brain. If you don't do that, your brain keeps drifting and it starts going to a bad part of the forest. After every 2 hours, he was resetting his brain, and it would take 4 to 6 hours to get to a bad part of the forest. He could never get there because he kept resetting his brain every 2 hours. So sharing could be journaling, or sharing could just be saying out loud to yourself, it's really to your unconscious, or writing down every hour and a half or 2 hours, I am thinking this, I am feeling this. And that will help you stay out of the hole.
That's mega, because I have this thing where I speak to my clients and I explain obviously what I spoke about sharing that energy. And when my clients come to me, I've got an open door policy, and they're allowed to get in touch with me anytime they're feeling out of sorts. However, I don't want to know about the drama about their next door neighbour's cat fighting with their dog, because that I've got no interest in that, because that will put me in a hole. However, if they tell me I feel like this and I don't like it, my duty to them is then to take them out of that hole. And that is why they don't actually realise what they've been offered at that time. And just when you're talking, you and I have both discussed about writing the thoughts down. The amount of people that message me late at night and say, Colin, I can't sleep. And I say, do you know, if you just get a piece of paper and you write down the thoughts in your head, put your phone down, write the thoughts down, close your eyes, I guarantee you will fall over to sleep.
Right. Sleep and resiliency, or lack of anxiety. Lack of sleep and anxiety are the two things that are going to hurt your immune system more than anything. So the way to sleep is to get down to one thought. And the way to do that is to write all the thoughts you have down so they're captured and let them go. You talked earlier about giving up control, letting them go, and then you'll sleep. So that's how you sleep. And the anxiety is what we're talking about sharing. Another way, and we covered this, was the communication guidelines. We use the communication guidelines so we prevent fights with other people.
Yep.
We have people do that so that they get along. But one of the things is when I use the communication guidelines, it forces my thought process to stay up. When I don't use the communication guidelines, I'm letting my thought process fall down. So it's important to understand the communication guidelines. Ask questions of others, share on yourself, answer other people's questions. If you do those things, it moves your own thought process up so you stay out of a hole. Now, working to stay out of a hole is going to be exhausting. The key is really to have a goal that you want to get better at during this lockdown, and to kind of climb the mountain.
Yeah.
You're never going to fall in the hole if you're trying to get up this mountain. And the biggest thing you can do to get up the mountain is understand your uniqueness. If you understand your uniqueness, your how and your why, we talked about these intangible drivers, you will know how to get energy during the lockdown. You will know how to interact with others so you get more energy.
Yeah.
So the final point I have is Colin and I have a bunch of videos. We have a lot of videos with all of the intangible drivers, so you can go through those to figure out your uniqueness. And then the rest of the videos we have is really for mental health, happiness, flow. It's to help you achieve resiliency, and then flow, and it's to help you to thrive. So all that information is there. And then obviously, if you need to reach out, you can always reach out.
Yeah, no, excellent, John. And I am the same. I welcome anyone from any corner of the world, nationality, anywhere, it doesn't matter. We're all together. And I wish people would go on to our channel, because the information, what you've taught me and changed my life over a year, for that information to be able to go to any human being for free, at their leisure, at their fingertips, to allow them to live a more thriving life is unbelievable. So I will put our YouTube channel, I will put that on the link with this video, and allow people to subscribe and actually to help themselves out of any holes that they get into. And then if all else fails, you and I will both be there for them.
Great.
Well, listen, thank you so much for today, John. And thank you everybody for watching. I will speak to you soon. Take care. Bye.